Ugh. Howdy, 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 howdy. Oh my goodness. I'll wait for this damn thing to populate. This morning I did a live show and I was so mad I had to, I had to break away. I was so upset. So we've calmed quite a bit down, and we have some information we'd like to share with the class today. I know that the president is going to be speaking, so it's probably a bad time to do a live show. But you know what? I'm going to do one anyway, because the reason why I feel the need to do this is because, listen, chances are you've never heard of this in all your life, but I'm going to tell you about it so you know. So that in case it happens, you'll understand that it was planned and I can prove it. And I've already archived everything. So if they change anything, too bad. I've got it. Okay? There was an exercise that was supposed to take place between May 14th and 15th, and it was supposed to take place in the New England area. It was all supposed to take place in other states, multiple states. The name of the operation was called Binary Blackout. What was that about? Well, it was supposed to be some sort of cyber attack that came from Russia, out of all places. It would do what? It would disable the water supply nationwide. It also would take out the electrical grid nationwide. So now that makes me wonder, according to documentation that was obtained on April 6th of 2020, FEMA has since then canceled it. But have they really? Now it makes sense to me why all of the National Guards are at every single state. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that the Richie from Boston's videos that are showing the National Guard are parking all of these vehicles in quarries and behind these buildings everywhere in every municipality. Huh. And we're all scratching our head. Why are all of the hospitals, why are all these different facilities empty when we're being told that they're full? And they're not. How is it that hundreds and thousands of people all over the world, in every crevice of each nation, where the citizens have gone out and they have videotaped these supposed establishments and no one's there? Meanwhile, you got the mainstream media, they're fanning the flames, boy. This is like the worst thing of all time. Hogwash. At the same time, you had the CDC, you had the Keebler Cookie Elf, Dr. Fauci, Blinky over there, ambassador or the emissary for our health, mommy government, telling us they're padding the numbers. If you go in for a toenail, an infected toenail, and you happen to perish, you actually, perish because of the Wuhan wiggle. If you go in there for a heart attack, it's Wuhan wiggle. If you go in for, a stroke and you perish because of that, no, it's the Wuhan wiggle. Listen, if it was such a big deal, why would you have to pat the numbers? You wouldn't have to. So all these people every day, they're coming, oh, there's 34,000. Sure there are. And what people are probably not understanding, 33,962 of them have been padded. Is that right? Yeah, that would be right. So you mean to tell me that an exercise that was locked up with all these other exercises that in fact took place in 2019 and they were going into 2020, specifically the Crimson Contagion. We already know that took place from January of 2019 all the way to August. The white paper came out in October 18th. Yet another tabletop, the Event 201, occurred on October 18th, 2019. We know that tabletop was seen by all of the directives, all the people involved, all the participants, and it was held back from the public, and it was published on November 4th of 2019 on the YouTube channel. We also know that according to the mainstream media, the information had been changed, that the first patient zero was December 1st, but it wasn't. It was November 17th, even though the CDC came out with quarantine advisories paying from $51,000, $94,000 a year. It was supposed to extend until May. In other words, that job opening was to extend until May, or maybe it was March. Talking about quarantine advisories for 19 cities within the United States that were the first 19 cities that were affected by the Wuhan wiggle. 2 days before November 15th, where patient zero went there supposedly to the Wuhan hospital on November 17th. That would be 2 days later. So we all know that this was planned, but what I'm going to share with you today, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that an exercise was supposed to take place by FEMA called binary blackout. That is a fact, Jack. Let's go ahead and read to you the other little exercises that were going on at the same time and that were to bleed over into 2020. Cyber Dawn, Cyber Guard, Cyber Yankee, Cyber Storm, Liberty Eclipse, GridX, Red X7, ClearPath, Crimson Contagion. We already know that one took place. Power Play, Shaking Fury, that took place also in 2019, dealing with, what would happen if there was a major earthquake, 7.7. So we already know that one took place too, because we checked. Okay? And Resilient Grid, binary blackout in association with Eagle Horizon. Very, very naughty, man. You can't imagine how naughty this exercise was to be. Let's go ahead and pull up the information, shall we? Yeah, let's do that right now, because your jaw is going to hit the floor. The reason why I felt the need to talk to you about this is because according to the female, by the way, here's the archive right here, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody that would like to participate, mods, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. I really do. Anybody that wants to participate, pull that up. That is directly from the FEMA website. Let's go ahead and read it together, shall we? Coordinating the response of the Wuhan wiggle pandemic is our top national priority. According to the Administrator Gaynor, has made the difficult decision to cancel the remainder of the national level exercise, NLE 2020, to include the FEMA-led binary blackout and Eagle Horizon. See, I'm not telling you a story. Component exercises and the concept of one large, unified, functional exercise in May. Other organizations leading the component exercises linked to the NLE 2020 will assess their own path forward in coming days. Wow. Special. What you're not understanding, ladies and gentlemen, is how that exercise, binary blackout, and Eagle Horizon was to affect the entire, oh my gosh, and I do mean entire nation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's another thing I'd like to point out. This is another thing I'd like to point out. This is really important. Have you noticed that the entire QAnon, that big old fairy tale, have you noticed in a lot of the adjoining posts that organization, rather, kept posting, it kept saying, watch the water, right? Now we know why. We sure do, because we have all of the documentation and the outlay of binary blackout. And I'm going to share it with you. But why would I do that if it's been canceled? Because I don't know that it has been canceled. And you got all these other people running around talking about Operation Gotham. Wow. But according to Mr. Jason Goodman, he went around New York today and he was asking police officers if they had ever heard of that. And they were like, no, 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 no. Huh, that's a darndest thing, because when he walked up to some military personnel, they were saying that it had something to do with, I don't know, the place where they had all the beds set up. Right? But yet in another video that was published in the early part of April, somebody caught some military personnel with these badges and they turned them over as so you couldn't see them. Well, why not? Because it's a secret. Well, why would it be a secret if it was to help people at some facility in New York? It doesn't make sense, buddy. Let's go ahead and get to the particulars of binary blackout, shall we? Yes, we will do that right now. Because here's the thing. According to FEMA, it's been canceled. According to their own website, you saw it with your own eyeballs. But has it? Let's hope that it has. Let's hope that they didn't change their minds. So let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of all this, shall we? And what this exercise entailed. The information came in that supposedly on April 6th, the Federal Emergency Management Agency canceled its national preparedness. You just saw the information that, in fact, they did cancel that, supposedly, right? But what did that exercise entail? Holy smokes, man. Now, here's another thing I want you to keep in mind. For all the people that know the information, that have read the information, verified the information, seen the information has been verified by the upper echelon of the Trump administration, that all of these guys went to NORAD and they're all locked up in there right now. Why? That's where you, listen, when you're dealing with the COG mafia, COG, that's COG. COG stands for Continuity of Government. Wow. You know what's really fascinating? It speaks about the COG mafia in this information. And this is just something else. Let's go ahead and deal with it. NLE 2020 focused on cybersecurity, and not just cybersecurity in general, but a Russian government attack that the war gamers made so extreme that it constituted an attack on the nation, provoking a military response and even contemplation of the use of N weapons. You do the math. Starts with an N, ends with an R. All right? The exercise taking place as the Wuhan wiggle grew had nothing to do with the pandemic. But the senior officer says the government planners who designed the NLE 2020 tried to do too much, getting lost in the flurry of topical scenarios, unlike contingency. This is what it was to lay out. The NLE 2020 documents include simulated message traffic doled out by control cell called White Cell, who provide scripted bits of intelligence and literally fake news to challenge planners and decision makers. An elaborate scenario of over 400 pages long describes how the Russian attacks started and escalated, with power plant operations at local levels calling on federal officials to help to protect their utilities. NLE 2020 posted a new scenario different from the real world probes that Russia and other countries have undertaken for this war game, a broad attack on electrical power production itself, not distributions facilities, but the actual power grid, right? That would led to catastrophic overloading and then failure of the entire North American electrical grid itself. The electrical power portion of the NLE 2020 is called binary blackout. And its own sub-exercise within a larger war game. The cyber attack at the centerpiece of what the Department of Homeland Security documents say is a set of events that will lead to domestic national security emergency. What? You mean like the one we're in right now? Yeah, that one. And significant impacts on multiple critical infrastructure. Oh, that's amazing. Under the classified scenario for the national security emergency that was to have played out, the Russian government cyber attack on the electrical power plants in New England, Nevada, results in a catastrophic power outage, a CPO, with cascading effects that spread like a virus throughout the country and into Canada. In the game, electrical power grids failed completely in 5 New England states in FEMA Region 1, including Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Vermont. While in the West, FEMA Region 9 in Arizona, California, and Nevada, officials scrambled to keep up with rapidly spreading worm. According to the binary blackout planning documents, within 24 hours of the quickly spreading blackout, the nation's water supply started to be affected. Pumping stations without backup generators or ones that didn't work further failed. And across the country, water sector performance dropped to as low as 40%. High-rise buildings were particularly hit, and water was not deemed to be 100% safe in almost half the United States. As wastewater began to back up into the clean water systems, the scenario was written to be the largest electrical power catastrophe to ever have hit the country. According to the scenario, states requested federal assistance, National Guard units were called out. Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. National Guard is in a lot of these different states right now. Is that right? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Washington dusted off its contingency plans, and planners playing mayors and governors and even cabinet officials. And the president worked to calm the nation. NLE 2020 briefings and planning documents called it a complex, adversary-based, multi-dimensional attack that was constructed intentionally to pull into participants from the whole community, all levels of government, the private sector, non-governmental organizations, and community groups. But as the full-scale play dealt with rapidly escalating disaster created by power blackout in real world, and the Wuhan wiggle also started to spread. Let me get to the really bad stuff here. The papers also reveal precisely how there can be a set of preparations going on in the public eye, while behind the scenes, another more ominous and secret set of deliberations take place. For instance, the unclassified papers and the briefings intended to state that local governments blandly say that NLE 2020 includes an option for a weapon, WMD, I'm not going to say it, right? Base threat and the execution of community plans with emphasis on devolution. But the classified briefings prepared for the top government war gamers posit a far more extensive WMD component, as well as the challenges of the federal government responding to civil disturbances, for evacuating Washington, for protecting continuity of government, and imposing martial law. Wow. Huh. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There it is right there, your binary blackout. Oh, no, hey, listen. These guys are help us. They're here to help us, right? You're planning such a real-world game? That's naughty. Just so naughty. It's very naughty. It is so naughty. It is like incredibly naughty. Civil unrest, restrictions on travel. Wait a minute. You mean like you can't travel from Florida into, let's say, Alabama? Or you couldn't travel from, let's say, Texas to Louisiana? Kind of like that? Kind of like those sort of travel restrictions that we're seeing? Sort of like that? Yeah, okay. Civil unrest, restrictions on travel, continuity, and even martial law are included in the NLE 2020 decision packets. As the blackout extends into every state and Quebec, that'd be Canada, the classified scenario posts not just impact on water supply, but the general breakdown of society. The entire healthcare system collapses. You mean kind of like how they're laying off all these nurses and doctors and stuff? Kind of like that? Let's go ahead and read more, shall we? Yes, we shall. Hospitals run out of backup power. Patients are discharged. Medications that require refrigeration expire. Procedures like dialysis cease. Medications that require refrigeration expire. Civil unrest is widespread throughout the country, according to the documents, and the military commanders are brought in both to enforce quarantines. Oh, you mean like the nationwide quarantine that is going on right now? Kind of like that? Yeah, like that one. And help suppress violence, but also establish government in places where civil authorities breaks down. No, you don't say. Are you sure that this thing is canceled? You know, because I'm getting a sneaky suspicion that it's not. And you know it's so incredible that you got New York that is under lockdown. You got New Jersey that is locked down. And you know what? That's in the map parameters of this exercise that was to take place on May 14th and 15th. That darndest thing. Let's go ahead and continue, shall we? Yes, we shall. By the end of week 2 of the NLE 2020 scenario, according to classified documents, public broadcast ceases. The internet goes down, and people are no longer able to charge their cell phones, with most of the public cut off from communication. Chaos ensues. Even gas stations that have gasoline cannot pump anymore. Of course not, because it all works on electricity, see? And the transportation grid grinds to a halt with no water available except for wells. Public hygiene descends into epidemic of mass infections and disease. The production of foodstuffs ceases. All key staples disappear. Farmers have to slaughter their livestock to save the healthy. As the mortality rate climbs, the documents say civil unrest becomes so widespread in every state, and it's only in week 2. That would be the end of May, wouldn't it? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And as I predicted to you, that a decree of martial law will be stated in the United States in May or June. The leaves would be out on the trees. Remember I told you that? Yeah. Keep that in mind. What do each of these sectors with regard to communications and the internet, with the electrical power production and distribution, with public health, with other critical infrastructure utilities, and with transportation, is scripted to challenge the thousands of participants throughout the federal government and 9 states. Each of these sub-elements has its own exercise that takes place under the NLE 2020 of these sub-elements has its own exercise. They are called Cyber Dawn, Cyber Guard, Cyber Yankee, Cyber Storm, Liberty Eclipse, Grid X, Red X 7, Ultimate Guardian, Advert Sentry, Vigilant Shield, Vibrant Response, a smorgasbord of civil agency exercises and military war games based on the same binary blackout scenarios. See how that works? That's how that works. So for all of you people out there, for every last person that is sitting there thinking to yourself, they are here to help. No, they're not here to help. Sorry. So, as you saw with your own eyes, according to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency has canceled that exercise. Let's hope that they did. However, in that FEMA, from their own FEMA website, it states that other agencies or locations would have to make their either plans or alternative. I'm paraphrasing. But did they really cancel it? Or did they say that they canceled it because they were caught? And does it have something to do with Operation Gotham? If you remember, ladies and gentlemen, because I remember very, very well, Operation Gotham Shield was conducted in 2017, which included New York and New Jersey. That's the darndest thing. So when Jason Goodman, and hey, listen, I'm not knocking him because he goes out and get those stories. He was walking around today asking all the police officers, traffic cops, regular cops, if they knew anything about Operation Gotham. And they're like, no, I don't know. He asked somebody that was dressed up in military fatigues if they knew what that was about. They'd made mention it had something to do with some facility. I can't remember the name of it. Forgive me. But of a place where they set up all the beds in New York. Right? Does anybody know the location of that? I forget the name because it's a weird name. All right? So he's going out there and asking these people that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if it's all about that, then why is New Jersey involved? I'm just curious. If it's just specifically, yeah, thank you very much, the Java Center. If it's just about the Java Center, then why is New Jersey involved? Doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't make sense. If we go back, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you investigators, citizen investigators out there, you do remember that when FEMA or Department of Homeland Security came out with that weird, that very bizarre, very, very bizarre. It was like an advertisement, sort of, where the guy's like going through all the pictures, right? And then it says, run away. New York water sector. Remember that? Exactly. What is going on here, buddy? I mean, truly, what is going on? You guys remember that? Where it says, run away. New York water sector. The reason why this made me look into this is because today, when Jason Goodman was walking around, he stumbled upon a water truck in the middle of the street. He's like, wow, that's odd. And he asked the cops, what is that water truck doing here? And he's like, I don't know, go ask him. So he did. And they said that they were watering the flowers. What? Watering the flowers. That just right there, that said something to me like BS alert. If I'm not mistaken, not even last week, it rained or snowed or something like that. Why do you got to water the flowers? Is that essential? I didn't think so. Seeing that you and I can't go out and garden, seeing that you and I can't go out and plant food anywhere. Oh my gosh, if you did that, you'd be arrested that quick. But the city of New York is out there watering flowers, and because somehow, some way that's an essential position? No. And that's what triggered me to go look, to figure out what's going on. And we came across this beauty. Isn't that neat? Sure is neat. So hopefully this doesn't occur. Hopefully this exercise has been squashed. Hopefully it has been eliminated. Hopefully they're not going to follow through. But if they did, how many people are in this room? 705 people are in this room. And if any of you are from New York or New Jersey, at least you would know ahead of time of the very detailed plans that were being made. And if it is executed, then 705 people are aware that it really was planned well in advance. And we just proved it to you with the FEMA doc. I'm going to give it to you again. They said that they canceled, but you know what? It's just not looking like it. Copy link. We're going to go into, let me give it to you again. So there's absolutely no question that the information is legitimate. And it's been archived, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is right here. If they change, alter, delete, it's there for all to see. According to them, they canceled it. I contacted Shepard over at IntelliHub and gave him information on this, and hopefully he will do a story on it. I hope he does for redundancy. Okay, this is not funny, ladies and gentlemen. This is not funny at all. Because in accordance to these exercises, we know that these exercises, in a lot of cases, go real world. We know it. We know it from experience. We know it as investigators, as citizen investigators. Listen, this is not about you. It's not about me. This is about our country. And how dare a bunch of somebodies start making plans for not only the dismantling of the United States infrastructure through their little games, okay, but the absolute obliteration of our beloved Constitution, our Bill of Rights and our human rights because they want their NWO. They want to start again. I don't know if they thought to themselves that when you cut off power, I don't know if they thought to themselves that there's 200 plus nuclear power plants in the United States. And that's what I was talking about this morning. That's what I was trying to say this morning. There's a lot of cases these guys are not going to execute any sort of plan if it's going to personally affect them. If there's nowhere for them to run or hide or be cured or whatever. Maybe they have a roll up your sleever because they couldn't keep their bio level 4 lab in their britches. Even though the United States is the very party that lifted the moratorium on playing around with pathogens in the lab in 2017, October to be exact. And all the other nations said, fine, we'll do it too, huh? Right? So let's just hope that this doesn't go down. But if it does, you'll know why. And you will know for a fact it was planned. Thank you very much, GM Serrari. I'll put that towards my port fund, I think. So I felt the need to come out here and explain this to you and talk to you about it. Because I don't want this to happen. Of course not. You know damn good and well that when you take people's communications away, you will have immediate chaos. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Because that is, in fact, the number one thing that is done under the act of war. It sure is. That is the number one thing that goes is communications. Whether it be cell phone, whether it be internet. Okay, the reason why it's making me believe, I'm not saying I'm right, bud. I'm saying it's making me believe that this plan is going forward is because I don't see the retraction of these troops. I do not see the retraction of this military hardware. If anything, you see tanks rolling everywhere all over the nation. Oh, let me guess. They're shipping them off to Italy? Are they shipping them off to another? No, hogwash. Come on now. We've seen the video footage from our own people. And these guys, these mayors, these governors, they know the score. All this hogwash about social distancing was figured out in 2010 in the Rockefeller White Paper under lockstep. It sure was. That's a fact. It's already been proven. It's already been given to you. Evidence is key. Thank you very much. I'll take that ice cream. Right? So the fact of the matter is, you don't want somebody running around with disinformation, pumping a bunch of scare bubbles in your bathtub. Forget all that. You want the evidence, and we just provided it to you. So if anything even close to that occurs, then you know who to hold responsible. And stop singing Kumbaya at the Capitals. You know what? There's a guy on the tubes. I don't know if you know him. You probably do. He's pretty popular. His name is High Impact Flicks. He's got a point, in my opinion. He does have a point. Why would a bunch of people show up at a Capitol and ask for permission to come out of their houses? Why are you showing up at the Capitol? I mean, he's got a good point. I got to admit. He's got a very, 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 very logical ideology about that. Because the last place you'd be going is there, and you'd just be going out and doing your own thing anyway. All of this social distancing garbage was in a white paper under lockstep. That's LOCKSTEP. Please look it up. Under the Rockefellers. You got that? It specifically states that social distancing. This is so ridiculous. Why cannot these rich folks, why can't these millionaires and billionaires and light lords and elites just mind their own business. You made your money. You go over there and, play chess somewhere. Okay? Leave the nobodies alone. Enough. Enough. Okay? Truly, it's getting out of hand. So, what did we do today? We saw other videos that were talking about the Operation Gotham. We know that Operation Gotham Shield was of 2017. But see that they dropped the shield. Why would they do that? Well, because in an internet mind, which is definitely mine, you would put in Operation Gotham, drop the shield. So anytime, anywhere, regardless of search engine, if you did an inquiry about Operation Gotham, guess what comes up? 15 billion inquiries of Gotham Shield. You can't get it to write down to Operation Gotham. But you can. You can. Because that is under NYCEM, which stands for New York City Emergency Management. That's what that stands for. Now, in the video that was presented, a certain individual, which we have his name, and you have his name too, he's sitting there with that badge that talks about NYCEM and Operation Gotham. Good news, ladies and gentlemen. We've obtained his cell number, and we're going to call him live right now. Isn't that neat? Yeah, he'd be out of Maryland. Let's give him a Bojangle, shall we? I think I should call him up and just ask him if he'd like to talk to us about it. I wonder if he could. I wonder if he'll answer his phone. And I'm going to call him clean, so he can call me back if he wants. Let's give it a whirl, shall we? Because after all, ladies and gentlemen, these people work for us. Is that right? Is that right? I thought so. All these supposed state officials, these local officials that work at these government offices and these people in the government, they all work for us, right? Well, then I need to call my employee and find out what he's doing. And why is he doing it? Because I'm paying him to do it. See, it's my right to find out. Would that be right? Yes, that would be right. Let's do it. That would be a Mr. Asher. Let's give him a Bojang. I've never called this number in all my life. This is the first time, so it might be disconnected. If this doesn't work, I'll send him an email because I got all his email addresses too. Or maybe it's not the guy, but I think it is. Let's give him a Bojangle, shall we? Be a lot of fun. And maybe he'll say, I can't talk about this. I'll be like, well, why not? You're my employee. You work for me, remember? Let's give it a whirl. Maybe it's not him. I think it is, though. All right. And make sure I got that right. Yeah, that's right. It's not a fax. If it rings too much longer, it's going to go to a fast busy, chances are. If it doesn't go to voicemail, who knows? I'm calling them clean, so. I am calling them.
Please enter your remote access code.
So he's got it set up just for voicemail, right? He can only take calls. Remote access code. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully he sees this video. Let's see if I can get his Twitter account. Might as well. So if you can, might as well. Shoot, I don't care. I'll just go to his Twitter account and say, call me back. Yeah, let's do an interview. You work for me. You're my employee, remember? Yeah. Isn't it funny how when, you say something like that to a supposed person that works for you, I mean, that's the illusion they give you. And then when you say that, they flip out. Oh, I don't work for you. It's like, but you do. What is going on? I mean, truly. Let's see if we can get him here. Mr. Asher. Page. Let's see if we got him there. Let's see. I don't want to spend too much time trying to get him on. Let's see if he's on Twitter here. Is this him? Tweets are protected. Well, you know what? I hate to tell you this there, Brett. Your tweets are protected? I can get in protected accounts. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. It's possible. It sure is. It's not doing anything naughty. It's just computer manipulation is all. See what you're writing. I mean, if you doubt that that's possible, you might want to contact a guy named Kenny Capisi. He'll tell you all about it. I mean, these guys work for us, right? I thought they did. That's a darndest thing. I'll go look. I'll go perusing around his account later because it's time consuming. What is this there, Mighty Buffoon? One would be wrong for someone to send Blinky. No. Don't be doing that. Don't be even talking about that. That's not even cool. Listen, I'm not in. I have no interest in doing anything to these people but asking them questions. I'm so sick and tired of the mainstream media. They pull out this softball or tennis ball and they lob these questions. What do you think about this? What? No, dude. You know what? We need to replace the White House press corps, and we need to put a bunch of other people in there instead to ask direct questions on camera. Right? Oh, they would not have that. Oh my goodness. Because they'd be so embarrassed. I mean, what would they say? You hit them with such pointed questions. And then if they started to run little circles around and answer the question, dude. I asked you a question. You work for us. You're my employee, remember? Did you want to be fired? Did you need to be fined? You work for us, right? Oh, no, that's not the way it works? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I forgot this was America. Apparently, you don't work for us. You work for you or something. Even though we pay you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that made sense. No, it didn't. So, all I'm just trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is if anything like this happens in the month, especially in the month of May, in May or June, whatever, then it all makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it make sense? It makes all the sense in the world. And you got to remember, all the mayors, all the governors, all of the EMs associated with this, they're all in on it. I mean, this is outrageous, bud. Can you imagine if an operation like that, according to the Secretary of State, we're in a live operation. We're in a live exercise. Can you imagine if something like that went down? Can you imagine what that would do to your family? And your mom and your dad and your sister, brother, and all your family members. That's just rotten. Who comes up with this crazy mess? Live exercise, yeah. You should have told us. Yeah, but here's the problem with this, okay? Some tweets were made by Trump this afternoon that were, in my opinion, a little bit provoking. Through the state of Virginia, I do believe. That's kind of like provoking a little bit. Because believe me, it is my opinion that these people truly want everybody to lose their minds and do something really naughty. Well, why would that be? So they can institute martial law and really get happy and really get busy. That's where the boots really come out. That's where, people that are either for this country or against it, it's blatant. It's in your face. There's no gray area at all. Either they're against America or they're not. There's no in between. The fact that the United States and all the people in it, for the most part, they have done the right thing, or what they thought was the right thing is. I myself am in, it is only my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying this is my personal opinion, that the whole thing is a fairy tale. The whole thing was planned in advance for the totalitarian takeover of not only America, but all the other nations combined. And there's a heavy 5-7 affiliation, because that will fall in line. That's the only way you're going to be able to get rid of cash. That'd be the only reason you'd be able to say, we're going to get rid of cash, is because, ooh, it's got cooties. And all the other nations will fall in place. And the big 5-7, in association with eliminating all the cash, would go under fintech. Fintech that has been planned for eons. Fintech stands for financial technology. It makes sense, man. It just makes sense. And all the nations that are supposed free nations, if you want to call them that, and especially the United States, would be the last pillar of opposition, because the entire United States has what? The big second, baby. Yeah, see? But if you eliminate a nation that has the big second, it makes all the sense in the world under strategy on why you would say that metal protector stores would be open during this catastrophe. Because you want people to get those metal protectors. Because for the final plays in advance, you want to be able to go in your little bunkers while everybody else is going absolutely loony upstairs and the chaos ensues. So what do you do? What do you do after that? You monitor it with your satellites. Satellites don't need any power because you have the solar power. You have the echelon equivalent satellite systems. And that's being controlled from where? NORAD. Then you got all these knuckleheads going down into DIA, all those tunnel city systems. When these people say, oh, you're a conspiracy. Oh, that's just hogwash. It's not. Excuse me, I hate to say this to you. 1994. I was working out there at DIA, my damn self, under telecommunications. Sure was. And prior to that. True story. Yes, there are tunnels there. Yes, there are. Matter of fact, they built all this infrastructure and they said, oh, darn it, we made a mistake. We need to bury it and start again. No, they didn't make any mistake. You don't make mistakes when you're a contractor, and you build a monstrous infrastructure and then say, oh, we did it wrong. No, you didn't do it wrong. And that was all part of your plan then too. Please stop lying to people. Please stop it. And the grand hall that is being, we're doing renovations or we're going to make things. No. That has everything to do with the access, acquiring serious access to the multi levels of DIA. Okay, I mean, really, do these people really think we're this naive? Apparently, they must, because they just keep going on with it. It's just so ridiculous. It's outrageous. So let's just hope that binary blackout was canceled. Let's hope it was. It's my opinion. It's not canceled. It's my opinion they're following through with it. Why are these guys in military fatigues turning over their badges if it's all about the Java Center and helping people? Why is that? They're on camera doing this, buddy. There is no escape. None. Oh, my gosh. Whoever that dude was that took that video, high five to you, buddy. For real. High five to you. Huh. And they expect everybody to just sit on their hands and we're just going to be quiet about it? No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not going to be quiet about it. Why would we? What do I got to lose? I mean, truly, what do I got to lose? Nothing. Nothing. What do I got to lose? What do you have to lose? Nothing. You might as well speak up, buddy. Because I'll tell you what, if some happy nonsense like that occurs and that exercise is pulled off anyway, you're going to know. You're going to know. And hopefully you can prepare. You have time to prepare now still in case they pull this off. That's rotten, man. That's just rotten. That's rotten on so many levels I can't even tell you. So it's just hard to believe. Just hard to believe. Jason Goodman, hell, he's going all around New York. Just walking up, maybe, you know what? At least he's got the nerve enough to ask these people questions like right in their face. He doesn't even care who they are. It's awesome. You know what I'm saying? And these people are so rude. It's like, really? I thought you worked for us. Apparently they don't. So all this social distancing has nothing to do with anything. No. Has everything to do with technology. It has everything to do with they don't want you to assemble. Because it's different when I'm sitting here doing a live show, having a little chatty do with you. It's a whole lot different than when you do porch communications. You know what that is? That's when you get on the porch and you're talking to your friends, you're having a couple of beers. It means a little something different because it's all personable. You can look at each other in the eye and you can have conversations about whatever. And those people take that information, they have another porch communication somewhere else. This is our porch communications is the internet because of the way technology is. But do know that if your telecommunications was stripped away from you, whether it be internet telecommunications itself, ham radio, you pick something. You talk about chaos. Man, you don't know what chaos is. You don't. Matter of fact, the equivalent would be is if you're an individual that does your business on your cell phone, and a lot of people do, there's nothing wrong with that. Try to imagine just taking your phone and dropping it in a big old bucket of water and you never saw it again. Try to imagine how stressful that would be, knowing that people are trying to call you, you're supposed to call somebody back. You can't contact family or friends. There's no internet, no comm, no ham radio. It's not like you can get a courier or a pigeon, give it a little note and say, here, fly off to New Jersey and say hello to my mom. It doesn't work like that. You just can't imagine the chaos that would ensue without communications. But they can. And they had a whole thing structured to intentionally contaminate the water supply and turn off the power nationwide and take away. This is just rotten, buddy. This is rotten. It's just not right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go ahead and conclude my live stream right now because I've said everything I needed to say. Be on the lookout, for real. Be on the lookout, especially all of the different states up in New England. You know, I mean, this kind of nonsense. Hopefully, they truly did cancel this exercise. But you know what? All of the other things that are going on nationwide is telling me they didn't cancel anything. They just said that they canceled it. Did they really? I guess what? We don't have long to find out, right? With that being said, I'm Montegraph, and if you can't speak freely, you're simply not free. Talk to you later.